So regarding the president sending National Guard into Portland, do you have a stance on that? And do you have a message to your constituents regarding that situation?
Right. Well, no one wants to see federal troops in their city. It's not good optics, but I don't think President Trump had any choice. Uh, the unfortunate state of law enforcement in Portland leaves him really no choice because the city police in Portland have been dramatically underfunded. They have about half the number of people. Actually, they have less than half the number of people that would be normal for a city their size. And so to keep the ICE folks safe and to keep them capable of doing their job, he had no choice but to try to get troops in.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. Do you have a response to folks who are fond of Portland, who are familiar with Portland, who are saying this is a peaceful time. We don't understand why you're sending these. Can you clarify why you feel it was necessary? You did a little bit, but if you could further clarify.
Right. So one of the most important things we can do is to keep our people who are trying to enforce our laws safe. And right now, the people in ICE doing the work for immigration as required by the law have not been kept safe. And we have protesters uh, up against the building that they're working within in downtown Portland that have been threatening them. One guy actually showed up with a machete. They actually had to tase him and take the weapons away. And these kinds of things are precursors of perhaps even more violence in and around that ICE building. You can't have that happen. You've got to have local people, we hope, preventing that from happening. And that has not been the case in Portland. And it's not been the case because the city council in Portland is not a fan of law enforcement. You can see that by how little they've chosen to uh, fund their police force. That's why there's only about half, less than half of the people that would be normal for in the police force for a city of Portland size.
All right. If you don't have anything else to say on Portland, I'll move on to our next subject.
I do have something to say about Portland. I went to law school in Portland for 3 years. I like Portland. I think it was one of the most beautiful cities on the West Coast and certainly one of the most fun to be in. I don't know how many times I've gone to plays and other productions at the Old Civic Theater and other things. And it's been a travesty to see what I'm going to put protesters in quotes have did to that city in 2020. And the city is just barely recovering, and it's hugely sad for all of Oregon. And the reputation of Portland back on the East Coast, where I've now been for about 5 years, is terrible. And we need to do something about it. But it starts with having order. As my brother, a former county sheriff, says, you can't have law without order. And Portland's had a real struggle with maintaining law and order, and I hope they can improve.
I do want to follow up on that just real quick. You mentioned the reputation of Portland since 2020. Do you feel the reputation matches to what you see when you visit now? Because I
No,
think a lot of people would disagree.
yeah. So a lot of people in Oregon would disagree, but people on the East Coast, what do you think they've heard about Oregon? They heard all about the Antifa riots and the trashing of downtown Portland in 2020, and that's a very hard image to get out of your mind to see all that craziness going on. And so it's going to take a while to try to convince everybody that it's safe to go back to Portland. And so this is not something I'm making up. I wish it was. It's not. And so this all starts by having a law enforcement team that you can count on that's going to keep you safe. And also, it doesn't help the legalization of hard drugs and the homelessness and the sad effect that's had on downtown Portland is also unfortunately extremely well known across the nation. And how they fix that is unclear to me.
All right. Thank you for your comments on that. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Is there anything else you wanted to state before I move on?
Move on.
Okay. Wonderful. Do you have any thoughts on the government shutdown? Just from your standpoint, what you're fighting for, what you think it's causing?
Well, it's causing huge problems, and a shutdown is not good for anybody. And I've consistently voted to keep the government open, and I did so again when we passed the Clean Continuing Resolution, the Clean CR, just several weeks ago. Unfortunately, only one Democrat joined us in trying to keep the government open in the House, and sadly, over in the Senate, only three Democrats joined the Republicans in trying to keep the government open. That's not good. The Democrats need to vote for the CR. Another five or six of them need to join those Democrats who've already decided that it's right to keep the government open. And then we can talk about the issues the Democrats are bringing up.
Do you have a specific message to Oregonians who are feeling the impact of the shutdown?
Yes, they should call our two senators, Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley, and say, vote to pass the CR. Call them and say, why did you vote to close down the government? And then call all of the Democrat Congress women, because as it happens, there are six congressional members and two senators, and all the Democrats voted to close down the government. And so call them and email them and tell your friends to do that and say, hey, this is bad, really bad, and we need to get it fixed so we can start talking about the issues as is normal for democracy.
That was a great answer. I don't have any follow-up questions unless you have anything else you want to say.
Now, is this the last of your questions for me? If it is, I have
I-
one thing to say.
I've got one more question for
Oh,
you
please go
on a
ahead.
different topic.
Please go.
Um, okay. I just wanted to, I'm curious on your move from in-person town halls to over the phone town halls or Zoom town halls. I know you've made statements about it. Can you just clarify your stance on why you've switched from in-person to virtual?
Yeah, what I really like in-person town halls. I think they're really great, and I enjoy them a lot. I have to do like 20 of them a year, so it's a lot of traveling and a lot of work. But it became apparent that my live town halls, were being hijacked by a group of people that would follow me from town hall to town hall to town hall, about 150 of them, and they would say the same things, and many of those things that they were saying are totally false. And what I suddenly realized is I was providing them with a platform to spew out misinformation and scare the heck out of older people. And I thought, why am I doing this? Why am I giving them this opportunity to disseminate misinformation? So I shifted to telephone town halls. I think if I completed my 20 county swing, I probably would have had about 5 to 7,000 people. As it is, on those three telephone town halls I've done, I've had 31,000 people attend, and just three, and we'll do more. But in the long run, I hope to get back to live town halls because I think they're enjoyable and I learn a lot. But I'm not going to allow them to be used for misinformation purposes.
All right. Those are all my questions. You said you had something you wanted to say.
I just want to say that the the situation in Portland is extremely sad. But the only help for it that I know of is to have the city police be appropriately funded and appropriately staffed so that they can maintain order in that beautiful city. And if they aren't capable of doing that, then it's going to be a long, long time before Portland gets back to what I hope would be normal.